Anche per una questione di coerenza.
Sì.
Quando sono in Giappone non parlo giapponese, quando sono in America non parlo
So when he's in
americano.
Japan, he doesn't speak in Japanese, and here he doesn't speak. I don't think you've been to Japan.
E il mio giapponese è perfetto, eh?
It's Japanese. So's your English. Your English is perfect too.
No,
Yeah.
non come il giapponese.
Oh, your Japanese is better? Okay.
No, adesso siamo qua tutti a ridere, scherzare, mi fa piacere.
So he's happy that everybody's here to laugh and joke. Have fun.
Io sono molto arrabbiato,
He's very
ma non sto scherzando.
He's very pissed off, but he's not going to tell you why. And he's not kidding. I'm going to
non sto
translate you.
Non
I'm going
sto
to translate.
scherzando.
Io ti traduco, però. Okay. He's not joking.
Tutti felici, contenti, sì, sì, sì.
Everybody's happy.
Io oggi sono stato insultato da uno di questi produttori.
He was insulted by one of these producers.
Non sto scherzando, eh.
He's
Voi
not kidding.
ridete, io non sto scherzando.
He's not kidding.
Sono molto serio.
He's very serious.
Ho chiesto a uno di questi produttori un piccolo piacere e mi ha detto che me l'avrebbe fatto.
He asked for a small favor, and the producer said he would do it.
E non è stato fatto.
And it wasn't done.
Per me è un insulto, eh.
Okay, for him it's an insult.
Tutti sanno che io non amo parlare.
Everybody knows he doesn't like to speak.
Quindi, no,
So-
non è vero.
That's true.
Prima di cominciare il tasting,
So before
ho
tasting-
chiesto a Nicola,
So he asked Nicola, before starting the tasting, he asked
visto
Nicola,
che era il primo,
since he was the first,
di venire alla fine
to go at the end,
e di parlare per me perché è più bravo di me.
to talk at the end because he's better.
L'ha fatto?
Did he do it? No, prendilo.
Adesso sono cazzi tuoi.
Okay, now,
Siediti qua. Gianluca, hai fatto un discorso bellissimo sul team.
Gianluca made a perfect discussion about his team.
Un consiglio,
One piece of advice,
fermati lì,
stop there.
perché poi ti arriva la siciliana, poi ti arriva l'americana, poi ti arriva l'architetto e sei fottuto.
And then you're going to get a Sicilian person and a woman and an American and an architect, and then you're screwed. I'm in great shape too, don't worry.
Yeah, because the Sicilian and the architect and the other one are their team, which is down there. They are down there, right? It's correct. È vero, no? Volevi dire che era laggiù, la siciliana e la...
They're in the back room.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. I bought a new winery. I made.
Solo ricattando se ottiene qualcosa, lo so.
Ah, okay, vabbè, no. Just blackmailing. But...
Okay.
Allora, diciamo la verità, dai, Nicola, diciamo la verità. È da 3 mesi che proviamo sta gag, tutte le sere.
They've been rehearsing for three months.
Tutte le sere.
Every night.
Magnums of Monfortino, 90.
È venuta bene.
Did it turn out okay?
Grazie, Roberto. Mr. Conterno.
12 magnums of Monfortino, I guess. 90.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
No, stai pure qua, non ti preoccupare. Domanda?
No, I can't.
Perfetto.
Io non ti chiedo niente.
Perfetto.
Vuoi dire qualcosa?
Ma neanche per niente. No, dai, adesso 2 parole, ma veramente veloci perché è da 2 ore che siamo qua.
He's been here for 2 hours and he's tired. So, two
No.
quick words.
La 19 è una grandissima annata.
19 is a great vintage.
Ma non lo dico io,
But he doesn't.
lo dicono i vini che stiamo bevendo.
The wines say that, not him.
2 parole sull'azienda.
A little bit on the estate.
Noi abbiamo portato il Cerretta perché dei 3 cru è l'unico che abbiamo prodotto.
He chose Cerretta because of the single vineyards. It's the only single vineyard wine he made.
Perché tutta l'uva proveniente di Nebbiolo, proveniente di Francia e di Arione, dalla parte di Serralunga, è stata destinata a fare la riserva, il Monfortino. Questo identifica la grande annata.
So everything that was produced in Francia and Arione is going to become Monfortino. And that's a testament to the strength of the vintage.
A me piace ricordare il 19 come la 13.
He likes to think of 19 like
Vedo ci sono
13.
delle similitudini,
There's similarities,
però il 19 ha una morbidezza maggiore.
but 19 has a little bit more softness.
E qua mi fermo.
And there he stops. Okay.
Thank you for coming, guys.
Can you compare 2019 to an older historical vintage, another vintage? What vintage would that be?
Chi vuole rispondere? 19.
Allora,
compared to-
io ho già risposto che la paragono alla 13. Quando si va in
Like 13.
annate molto molto più indietro è sempre più difficile,
If you want to go way, way back in time, it's much harder.
perché l'uva che abbiamo oggi non è l'uva che avevamo 60 anni fa
Because the grapes we have today are not the grapes we had 60 years ago.
e sono cambiate molte cose e a volte le comparazioni è meglio farle entro la decade.
Many things have changed in that interim. It's much better to do the comparison, say, within a decade.
E secondo me, io personalmente, poi ogni produttore giustamente dirà la sua, questa è la mia opinione, io la 19 la identifico molto come la 13.
That's just my opinion. Every producer will have his or her own opinion, but just for me, 19 is like 13.
Anzi, avrei piacere se qualche altro produttore avesse qualche altra idea, perché è giusto che sia così.
He'd be happy if somebody else wants to chime in. Anybody
Just
else?
remember the day I talked with Alessandro. We came to the winery, and then I started to say, 19. Oh, it reminds me the tightness of 89. He looked at my eyes, say, you were not even born. You don't know how it was. It was so tiny. You don't understand how tight. And I say how tight it was 89. So I can't say anything anymore. So you remember Alessandro was like this, huh?
Porta il curriculum.
Oh, okay, he's gonna hire me. He said. So I have my future assured.
Okay.
In Nervi o in Monforte? Both. Brand ambassador, lo dico. Okay, calma.
Anybody else want to say 19 is like some other vintage? Qualcun altro vuole? No? Okay, then maybe we move to the next question. There was one
I
back
think
there.
it remember speaking. Sorry.
Vuoi
Speaking,
rispondere?
yeah,
Okay.
only my idea concerning the 18 is that is a vintage with an identity that remember me speaking a little bit. I agree with Roberto concerning the different composition of the bunch of grape that we are vinifying now. But remember me a little bit the 88. The 88 that was a vintage pretty closed when was young, but with a huge development in the time, achieving really a wonderful balance after a few years. I can see a little bit a vintage like this in the 19.
È vero. Invece io ho fatto un altro paragone andando un po' più indietro.
And then thinking a little bit more about another vintage going back,
Quindi 19, 20, 21,
29, 20, 21.
per me è una coincidenza, ma mi ricordano 99, 2000, 2001.
99, 0001.
Ma è una coincidenza.
Just by coincidence. Okay, there was a question.
A good coincidence.
Coincidence.
Complimenti,
There was a question in the back.
complimenti a tutti. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your work. Question about yields in the vineyards compared to today, compared to, let's say, the 50s, 60s, 70s. We talk about vintages like 58, 61, 64, 67, 71, 74, these vintages that we know and love, and some of you get a chance to drink more than me. But we also hear that the climate was much different. The approach in the vineyards were much different. It was anathema to do green harvest or drop fruit. And today, maybe, are we going back to that approach? More yield in the vineyards? Not so much 500 grams per plant. What's the approach today? You guys are making beautifully balanced wines today, despite hard conditions. So the question is really approach to yields. Obviously, Mother Nature will give you what it's going to give you in a determinate year. But your approach to pruning and yields, is it higher today than 10, 15, 20 years ago? And compared to the older classic vintages? Thank you.
Non dimentichiamo
Let's not
che
forget.
50 e 60 anni fa c'erano vigneti più vecchi,
50 or 60 years ago, the vineyards were older.
quindi non c'era bisogno di fare la green harvest, era naturale.
You didn't need to do a green harvest because it happened naturally.
Oggi, a seconda delle annate, bisogna ragionare in modo diverso.
Today, depending on the year, you have to think things a little bit differently.
E è giusto che ogni produttore scelga una sua linea. Non esiste mai la risposta giusta. La risposta è giusta in base al vigneto, alla zona, a diverse condizioni.
It's only right that each producer makes their own decisions
Però-
with respect to their vineyards and each vineyard. Somebody else want to add something? Gianluca?
And don't forget that in the past, when we used to do the harvest, they used to do the harvest with not just once. They already did a little bit also in the 50s, in the 60s, the, let's say, green harvest. They did the harvest using two different baskets, not just one as we usually do today. So they pick grapes, the grapes that were not maybe really the best, and they use these grapes, let's say, for the family, for them to have the bottle of wine in the middle of the table, and the other basket where they did really much more severe selection, they used to make the wine for selling. So in some way the green harvest already was done. And today we continue to do. The global warming in some way is helping us, to have a little bit easier vintages, but don't forget that in the past they usually do the green harvest in different way, but was already done.
Yeah, so I'll just add to that probably the answer you're looking for, I think, is the peak of obsession with low yields is like in the 90s. And that was about de-leafing, exposing grapes to sunshine, and maniacally low yields, the idea that you wanted to stress a vineyard. Today, everybody wants to protect their fruit. No vineyard should ever be stressed. And the yields are allowed to be a little bit higher because that is considered better balance for today's climate. So that may not apply to every producer here, but it applies to 90% of producers, not just in Piedmont, but in any region that you want in the world. So today there's just a different view of farming and what is considered ideal.
Thank you. I wanted to ask the winemakers about the intense aromas of citrus, blood orange and other citrus fruits that you find in Nebbiolo and so few other red wine grapes, maybe Pinot Noir and Burgundy. Is that a function of the type of vintage? Is it cool vintage versus warmer vintage? And how much of it relates to the winemaking? Thank you.
Ma senti Antonio, però qua mi traduci perché è molto difficile.
No, basta. Your English is really perfect. So's his, but.
But it's a really, really difficult answer because of it's very technical. Probably the aroma of orange, juice of orange, or citrusiness in general, they are more present in our wine. It doesn't depend about colder and warmer vintage, but probably are more due to the way we are protecting now the wine in the cellar. So, and how we protect the berry. Before Antonio was saying that in the past the grape were lived more to the sun and the yield was lower because of the weather was different. Now we try to protect a little bit more the grape with the leaves, and also in the cellar the wine maybe needs a little bit less oxygen. So we are able to keep these components that are coming from the berry, but maybe with an oxidative way in the cellar, so with more racking, taking the wine more air. In the past we were losing. Now we have a fruit that probably is more imbalanced, the tannin are more integrated in the fruit and the cellar. We leave the wine in peace, no? We work a little bit less, and so we are able to protect and to have this aroma that is true. I agree with you. In many different glasses, I felt this aroma, and it's aroma that I like because it gives the wine a little bit of lift, a little bit of freshness. It's important. It's an aroma of Nebbiolo that today we are able more to protect.
Great. Thank you very much, Fabio.